Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would sit down and do another video for you guys and gals. Let me give you guys a forearm shot first. Forearms are still on point. All right, let's talk a little bit about protein overfeeding. Do I think protein overfeeding is a viable strategy in place of even bulking and cutting? I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes, in the context of if someone's goal is to try to get lean and stay lean, they're trying to keep a low body fat year round, or they're not wanting to track calories really tightly. They don't want to even eat particularly low calories, but they want to gradually get leaner. I think protein overfeeding works great. In fact, I am borderline protein overfeeding right now, even on my current cut. Again, one reason my scale's been going down at a nice reasonable rate, I'm looking leaner week to week because I'm eating over 300 grams of protein every single day right now. Right, so I'm keeping my protein super high. My carbohydrates are moderately low, and I'm eating a lot of healthy fats. But as far as the protein overfeeding goes, it is a viable strategy for a number of reasons. I've talked to you guys in the past, and I've linked studies about protein overfeeding. In fact, my friend Alex Leaf, I'm friends with he and his wife Brianna. He co-authored one of the studies on protein overfeeding, right? So he did some of his advanced degree work there. And, you know, what they found was that all of their test subjects, when they did them on extreme protein overfeeding, and I think it was something like almost 2 grams per kilo, it was over 2 grams. I think it was like 3 grams per kilogram of body weight or something, or 3.5, 3.4, something like that. So essentially for someone like me, it would be over 300 grams of protein, right? Because I'm walking around about 97 kilograms right now, 97 to 98. And yeah, so they found that the people all gained muscle and they all lost fat, okay? And a lot of people have speculated, and I've seen people like Knuckles and other people, like in his science blog, he's kind of written, I don't know that it's necessarily the big thermic effect that people think it is. He's like, I think it's because they're under eating. And there it's very possibly that, because that is absolutely a factor, okay? Absolutely a factor. It is hard to reach a calorie surplus because, we have all these protein overfeeding studies like that, and we're like, they added 200 grams of protein a day to whatever they were eating and started losing body fat. Like, we were talking to people on moderately high protein diets already, and then tried to keep their other macros the same. So they just had them force feeding protein shakes, right? So taking protein shakes and adding like 200 grams of protein every day, which were supplied, and had them try to continue to eat the same diet and macros they had been eating. They all start losing body fat. But people have speculated it's probably because all of a sudden they can't overeat anymore, okay? People were at maintenance and then they're in a deficit. Yes, possibly because of the thermic effect of the protein, but also the satiety. In other words, if early in the day and you're not eating a junk food diet, you're slamming 150 or 200 grams of protein from shakes early in the day, you are not going to get hungry, okay? You are not going to get hungry. In fact, this is my solution for my binge eaters as a coach. I have someone who really struggles with binge eating. I'm like, get rid of all the junk food in your house. Keep your fridge filled with Greek yogurt, lean cuts of meat. I don't care if it's lunch meat, grilled chicken breast, turkey, fish, lean meat, fat-free, high-protein dairy like Greek yogurt, protein shakes. Keep piles of that stuff around, and every time you feel the need to binge, go force yourself to eat some of it. Eat it until you are full. That stops the binge problem real quick on a cut. Stops it real fast. So it's a completely viable strategy. The downside is the cost. But here's what I would say to people. If you're going to live a lifestyle to where you are very concerned with your physique, if it's extremely important to you, you probably should have other stuff in your life sorted already. So I want to be clear on that. If you're not already financially stable, then maybe your physique shouldn't be your top priority. Just throwing that out there. So the same thing, I would say a lot of my people who can afford my coaching, they can absolutely afford to do that. In fact, eating a healthy diet costs more than my coaching does. Like, I've had a few people like, well, your coaching is expensive at $300. Not really. For online, it might be slightly higher than average, but my people get amazing results, number one. Number two, You ever look at the cost of a personal trainer? You're not going to get in-person personal training for $300 a month. People are paying sometimes $50 or more per session, 3-4 sessions a week. I know people who are paying $1,000 or more a month for a personal trainer. So just an FYI, not that expensive. The same thing in the grand scheme of things. If your physique is a priority to you, well, hopefully you've got the other stuff in your life squared away and you're financially stable, or else it probably shouldn't be that high on your list. Just saying. Number 2, it's about prioritizing. So yes, protein overfeeding can cost a little more, but is it necessarily that expensive if you're doing shakes? I mean, realistically, you're just trying to protein overfeed by adding a bunch of shakes early in the day, and you're still eating a decent, balanced, healthy diet throughout the rest of the day, with your fruits and vegetables and whole foods. Not really that expensive. Not if you buy in bulk. It really isn't. Tell me 3 big tubs of protein a month. Not that expensive. Not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, people. So you've got to look at it from that perspective. But back over to that point, protein overfeeding, yeah, it will tend to just enhance body composition. Because here's the thing. Even if it ends up forcing you into a deficit, but you're training hard, you're still getting that extra amount of protein. It tends to still create an anabolic situation. If your protein intake is very, very, very high, it tends to offset a lot of the negatives of even weight loss. And we know in studies, even on regular protein intakes, recomposition is possible. It's just slow, right? We see it in advanced athletes. Multiple studies over the decades have shown intense training protocols to advanced athletes cause very small amounts of recomposition over time. They're gaining muscle and losing fat with minimal changes in scale weight. It absolutely is possible. So if we know that's possible, and then we know the higher protein can offset some of the negatives of a deficit and still allow some nitrogen retention and muscle gain, yeah, the massive protein overfeeding, if it forces you into a deficit, you're still going to be able to gain muscle. It's not going to be as fast as if you did a true bulk, but you're still gaining muscle. And if it's forcing you to lose fat, essentially people will recomposition towards closer to a body fat they want to be at. And they can usually do so without that strict tracking on calories. Why? Because they are always going to have enough protein in their diet to be gaining some muscle, barring unless they're down to a very big deficit, right? Unless they're in a very big deficit. But the protein itself is going to, through appetite and thermic effect, tend to create a deficit anyways. And in the way it affects nutrient partitioning. So yeah, protein overfeeding can absolutely be a viable method for people who want to stay lean year round. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.